Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south, or specifically downtown Somerset, Kentucky, at the Carnegie Community Arts Center. I'm walking around the Main Street area here searching for a certain museum that is hiding around here. There we go. Follow me. This is the International Paranormal Museum and Research Center. How can you go wrong with this? Paranormal Research Center. It's got Loch Ness Monster on the sign. This could be really good.
We actually got it from Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. Both of those are from their museum. This is actually a piece of the support beam from McPike Mansion. That's in Alton, Illinois, which claims to be the most haunted town in America. And McPike Mansion is kind of their crown jewel. There are several gruesome murders there, and a lot of spiritual activity.
So this is from the Pike Mansion right here?
Yeah, that's an original support beam of it. Okay. And this is actually from Henryton State Hospital in Marriottsville, Maryland.
Yeah.
It's a children's hospital that sadly burnt down. A little girl actually died holding this doll. And it was in the Warrens' collection for years. In their collection, and the guy that I collected it from, people had heard it crying in their display cases.
Really?
I've only had it for about a little over a month, and I haven't heard it crying. We have gotten some weird EMF. This letter here, we're very lucky to have a cursed bottle of bourbon. My business partner is a school teacher. One of his students actually had an uncle that died, and they were cleaning out his house and found this this bottle of bourbon in this box with this letter. To anyone who would consider drinking this bourbon, read this letter first and proceed at your own peril.
And what does it say?
It's a very spooky letter. It's front and back here. You're more than welcome to read it, but it's basically they had a music night, and one night a guy showed up that none of them knew. They didn't realize that till the end. He brought this bottle of bourbon with him. He was a very strange guy that made them all play or drink with it, which normally they didn't drink on music nights. And basically, I don't know, the letter's very weird about how, the effects that the bourbon had on them. The stranger basically disappeared, and no one ever saw him again. One of their friends took a drink of this, and he was warned not to, took a drink of it afterwards, and ran out of the house screaming. They did a huge manhunt, never saw him again.
Oh my gosh.
And it was in this guy's attic for years. It's originally from 1972, I believe, so. But yeah, here's the full letter to it.
What about these other dolls here?
These guys here are both, their names are Robert and Elizabeth. We got them from...
Robert?
Yeah, not as bad as that, Robert, but we got them from... my business partner's wife is a lab technician at our hospital, and one of her co-workers inherited these dolls when her mother died. And she has two young kids, a boy and a girl, and both of them, as soon as she brought the dolls into the house, started complaining, but especially the girl, "Mommy, the dolls are mean." And the mom blew them off for a while, thought they were just being kids or whatever. And after a couple weeks of complaining that they were mean to them, eventually the girl said that the doll scratched her. Mom's like, "What are you talking about?" She lifted up her sleeves and she had a bunch of tiny little red scratch marks on her. So the mom didn't know too much about it. She just threw them in a trash bag, and we had them the next day. They've never had anything like that happen since we've collected them. It is interesting to note we've never been scratched by them, but the only kind of paranormal activity we've had is before we open, I'd come in every few days to paint or something, and his hat would be off of his head. It'd either be on the shelf next to him or on the floor in front of him. So,
is this little one haunted too?
It is. That one actually started as a trigger object for us. Are you familiar with that?
Not really.
Trigger object in ghost hunting is basically if you go to someone's home, or the spirit of someone's home that loved Budweiser, you go in with a can of Budweiser, and it's something familiar from their life to try to get them to interact. So we bought this one at the flea market because it's creepy, number one, but to use as a trigger object for ghost hunting, especially younger spirits. And we chose this one. Like I said, it's creepy. It also blinks when you move it and squeaks when you squeeze it. So we would take it into places that reportedly had children's spirits and stuff, and we'd ask for things to move it. And there were a couple occasions that we actually got something to make it blink or something. And one night we used it successfully, had it blink several times, and we wrapped up our ghost hunt. A few hours later, we were back at my business partner's house, going through some of the evidence, and we look over it, it's still just blinking like crazy. So we just kind of shoved it with the haunted stuff, haven't used it for actual ghost huntings and stuff.
Is there any significance to this green dress right here?
It's actually not the dress, it's the mannequin.
Okay.
The mannequin,
That's even creepier. Okay.
Yeah. It's actually, her name's Gladys. And are you local here at all?
No.
Okay. So we got her from a local bookstore here that in the early 80s was a clothing store. In the late 80s became the bookstore, and they just kind of shoved her into a storage room for years. About 6 years ago, they actually started renovating the back out, and all they did was move her from one storage room to another. But from that time where they moved her, there was 10 separate occasions over an 8-month period where they locked up at night and came in the next day and she was in a different location. One time she was halfway down the employee's staircase. One time she was actually in the employee restroom.
Oh, oh my
God.
God.
That was pretty rough.
Yeah, coming in the morning.
So yeah, Rhonda, the owner's employees, started threatening to quit because of her moving around. They got bad vibes, and several people said she would follow them with her eyes or wink.
So when people become terrified of things, they give them to you?
Yeah, basically. We have a home for the misfit toys here. But yeah, since we've been open, we've actually had 7 people say that she's winked at them.
Oh, wow. So this is some of the ghost hunting equipment in here. Is that teddy bear up to anything?
Yeah, that's a Boo Buddy.
Yeah?
Inside of him, he has a thermometer, 2 EMF detectors, and he asks trigger questions like, will you sing your ABCs with me?
So he like does his own like ghost investigation?
Yeah, basically we put him in a room by himself with an audio recorder and then just come back 20 minutes later or something. He has his own questions. If he catches a temperature drop, for instance, he'll say, did you make it cold in here?
Oh, wow.
The temperature drop. He has EMF detectors in his hands, and if one goes off, he'll say, oh, thanks for holding hands. So
that is so cool.
He's pretty awesome. Collection of cast footprints he's found in Kentucky. Something about opening the back room up to them to have.
What's their group called?
The Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. KBFRO.
And down here we got our Mothman section. It's a replica of the Mothman statue in Point Pleasant. Looks like there's some Mothman beer in there. And then, of course, the Bishopville Lizard Man. But yeah, apparently, it's at the butter beans.
Yeah.
What's the story behind the butter beans?
There was a butterbean shed where he was first seen, and it was in the 80s, and the air conditioning out of it kept getting stolen.
Yeah.
So the farmer that owns the butterbean shed went to see who was stealing it, and one night was waiting out there with a shotgun, and that was actually the first time anyone had ran into the skateboard swamp monster, the lizard man.
So they think he's attracted to butter beans, or?
Yeah, they think he was eating them. He was coming out there and was getting in because people were ripping out the air conditioner. So.
Oh, and there's a Louisiana Rougarou, a shape-shifting werewolf monster. And Goat Man. That's Pope Lick, Kentucky that he lives. And then, of course, the Loch Ness Monster there. There's Loch Ness Monster beer as well. A lot of these monsters have their own beers, it seems. Oh, and then we got a coelacanth. We got our Sasquatch with the Yeti prayer towels. So you said this is the voodoo and occult
voodoo,
section.
Psychic, human remains, and kind of commune with the dead. Some of the highlights are this is actually a voodoo rattle that was used in voodoo ceremonies. It's over 150 years old. And this is a voodoo stick that belonged to a voodoo priestess in Haiti. It's over 250 years old.
Okay. Is that a shrunken head back there?
Oh yeah.
Kreskin's ESP kit.
I actually got to meet Kreskin in October. He's 84 and still doing his tours.
Wow.
And it was absolutely incredible.
I didn't realize he was still alive.
Yeah, I didn't either. He performed right outside of Cincinnati.
That's the handbook of the recently deceased. Is that from Beetlejuice?
Yeah, and then I have one of the pictures Winona Ryder took there.
Yeah, little two-headed duckling.
And then the jar with the pink lid is a piece of a human brain.
That's
I got those from the same collector as
It's a brain right there. tarot cards. Now, some people warn against using the Ouija board. I would say that's probably one you might want to stay away from. It's actually got the devil engraved right on it. Abominable snowman here. Oh, what's this? This is soil samples from Roswell. And the Flatwoods monster back there. Flatwood monster is the lesser known of the two West Virginia monsters, but still very cool and a very unique look to it. Ooh, and there's a stalk of wheat from a crop circle. We got a jackalope. Maybe like a little dragon, or maybe that's probably chupacabra, maybe.
It is a chupacabra.
Here's the Hopkinville goblins, little monsters or aliens. It's one of the most insane stories where they actually swarmed a house and had a shootout with a family. Well, I guess the family was shooting, not the goblins, but the goblins were trying to invade. It's a thermal imaging camera?
Yeah, you're more
So
than
how does that
welcome
work?
to.
Oh, wow.
And then if you want to take a screenshot of anything you see, just pull the trigger there.
Well, I guess we pointed at some of the haunted stuff over here. So how does that work? What do we...
Yeah, basically, if it picks up any cold spots, especially anything that's colder than the surrounding environment or warmer.
So kind of what's the standard color?
Around here, it should be about a blue. Like
Blue?
Yeah.
Okay.
The darker it is, the deeper, or the colder it is.
So let's... Okay, I got red, but I think that's just my... It's like my reflection is red in there. So this is just like a little village of like haunted houses right here.
Yeah, it's America's Most Haunted collection of some of the most terrifying houses in America, actually.
Up the Amityville.
And that one's the McPike Mansion that's a piece of. Lizzie Borden's house.
Oh wow.
The Franklin Castle in Ohio.
That Lizzie Borden's house is a bed and breakfast now.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Chang and Ang. Got some soil from their grave. So this is a courtesy EMF detector. This mannequin's being shy with me.
This is all the stuff we haven't been able to open the cases yet.
Where did this come from?
We actually found that at a flea market in Florida. It's an original 60s die-cast thing. You know how the zoos had, where you could make those?
Yeah, Moldorama?
Yeah. This is one of those from the 60s of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh my gosh. I actually collect these, but I've never seen that mold. What's in here?
That's actually a tooth of a plesiosaur.
Okay.
Which is the kind of dinosaur Nessie is. That one was found in Morocco at 70 to 100 million years old.
Now this is amazing. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, me too.
Little Shop of Horrors. There's some Skunk 8 materials there. Actually own that guide.
Yeah, I went all the way down there to the headquarters, and Dave Sheely was not there.
And there's some water from the Fountain of Youth in St. Augustine. I need to actually get back there. Mine's evaporating for some reason. It's a Boojum sign. This is actually a brewery in the town I live in. And actually have a family member that works there. It's actually a beer brewery based around a mountain Sasquatch troll that collects jewels. This is a pretty comprehensive map here of different cryptids in different areas of the United States. Not heard of Nobby. Nobby from Cleveland County, North Carolina. There's the lizard man. There's Mothman, the Popelick monster. Ooh, Jersey Devil right there. absolutely excellent attraction, and brand new. I think they just opened in October. Always love to see new attractions and new museums popping up. Not every roadside attraction has to be old. And love to see people following their passions for the strange and unusual. And where can you get that much paranormal and cryptid activity and aliens? It's got everything, all the good stuff, all the supernatural, all in one place. Definitely check this out here in Somerset, Kentucky. So I appreciate you guys watching. You want to see other places I've been, including other supernatural museums, you can look down in the description. There's an interactive map that'll show you all the places that I've been, and you can make suggestions on places that I need to go. Also, if you'd like to contribute to the channel, I have a t-shirt shop down there. I bought a t-shirt here as well. And I have Patreon, where a donation of at least $3 a month will get you a monthly postcard. And for now, this one's in the bag.